Well, credit should go to a lot of people. One, back to my friend Steve Helmuth. He's been at this for a long time, at the league nearly 30 years, and where we've been making presentations to our owners, explaining them why these images are so important. And I remember Steve and I, from early days in terms of low slash cameras and other presentations, making back-to-back presentations. I remember Steve and I had a discussion with a group of owners over the low slash position. And I remember that iconic Michael Jordan backpedaling shot after he scores a basket. I think anybody of a certain age can picture that shot. And we were demonstrating to them that without that low slash position, we could never get those kind of iconic shots. So I think part of it is Steve's presentation abilities, frankly, and us being in there, and Don Sperling in the old days, and Greg Winnick and others in there. There's Don. I didn't even know you were there, and I gave you a pop. So us going in there and making this paramount. And now for our owners, I think from early days, we had a lot of media people, whether it was Jim Dolan owning Cablevision in New York, other cable operators, other people with media backgrounds and broadcast backgrounds. I remember back years ago at NBC, Dick Ebersol asking, which was not typical in those days. Everybody seems to do it now, but where we invited Dick Ebersol to come in and make a presentation to our owners on how important these images were for our fans, the kinds of elements they needed to get their job done. So the owners were great. And then compliments to the players. I think part of it, there's a unique kind of personality in basketball, and I think it's part of the way they're acculturated around the game from a young age. They have fans literally right up next to them. Whether it's in a high school gym, they're standing right there, then even in college, the proximity of fans, and of course in the NBA with courtside seats, no helmets, they don't go into dugouts during timeouts. And I think the players intuitively understood that proximity meant a lot in this sport, and that I think we did a good job convincing them and the coaches that there's no reason that people who are sitting courtside should have a certain level of access in terms of what they see and, frankly, what they hear that we shouldn't give to the rest of the fans who are following our game, whether through some form of media or social media. And I think they bought into that over time. And I think we did some experiments, too, to demonstrate to a lot of our coaches who didn't want to be mic'd. We said, well, look, you're in a hot studio, and the quality of smartphones is so great. I mean, if you can picture an NBA arena and how close the fans are, they're literally on the benches now, that we sort of said, be on notice, that anybody who's right behind you, and I found I have to be careful in an arena because I'll be explaining something to somebody, and you don't know when somebody's holding a smartphone literally this far from your head, it's very obviously easy to pick up the audio or now the audio and video of everything you're saying. So I think it's a combination, but the whole ecosystem of the NBA has really lent itself to these kinds of great images coming out of our buildings.